Yo, what is up, YouTube? It's your boy Clips, back at it again. I don't think I posted in this. I don't think I posted in this channel in over like a year or something. So I'm back. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more consistent with my videos. I should be, because I'm gonna be trying to cover every Clippers game, kind of give like a little analysis of how the game went, and run down what went wrong, because that opening game was disappointing, to say the least. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it live. Yeah, obviously why I'm posting this the following day. But man, I got to watch a little bit of the second half when the actual game was being played. But that first half, and then I rewatched the first half. That first half was just, man, like you could just tell, like it felt like they were still treating this like a preseason game, which was surprising because that first preseason game against the Nuggets, they showed some intensity. It's not like they got ran off the floor in that first half. They obviously lost that game, but it's preseason. Starters were playing the second half, but that first half, the intensity was up there. Yeah, it didn't really seem like they lost the defensive identity that they really made themselves into last season. But that first half was just really bad on both sides. Just the whole game overall against Utah in their hope in the season opener. Obviously, just one game of 82, but you never want to start off first on a loss and then second on a game where you're down, lose by pretty much like 30 all game to the team that is projected to have like one of the worst records in the league. Like, they're gonna be in the sweepstakes for AJ. I forgot how you say his last name. I don't want to mispronounce it. AJ Cam Boozer's kid. So at the top of the draft, like they're supposed to be contenders for the first pick, and you go out and lose by 30 pretty much all game. Just get ran off the floor. It was kind of like the scripts were flipped, especially when you come into this season, with big expectations, wanting to be, title contenders, and you're gonna just come onto the floor and just act like, this is just any other game, like, which in the long run, I guess it would be, but these are the games that come back to bite you. In game 82, that's why we were in that nail biter against Warriors for that last spot in the playoffs, to that stay out of the play-in. That's why you end up in those nail biters, those games where you're not having the luxury to rest your guys towards the end of the season, because you're pretty much fighting to not be in the play-in, And we've been in the play-in before, and we lost both games to get out of the play-in, to be eliminated. So anything could happen in those situations. This is where you really want to take advantage, and they didn't do it. Seeing the first half, some of it obviously, it seemed like their chemistry wasn't there, which was surprising considering their preseason games were pretty good. I wasn't really too tapped into it, but I would watch like little segments, here and there, small pieces of the games as they were being played. I just didn't get a chance to watch them in full, but they were showing good process, really showing like that something like this wasn't supposed to happen at the start of the season, especially the first game. So yeah, just to give like a quick little analysis of it, pretty much the Jazz were just, for one, they were just hitting any and everything. Like, they did not seem to miss, but a part of it was the Clippers defense giving them those easy shots at the start of the game, which eventually allowed them to, once you get a couple of easy layups in, easy dunks, that basket's gonna expand a whole lot more. Shots will seem to feel a lot easier, which is pretty much what happened from the jump. Just getting killed, not necessarily killed, but just getting out hustled. Pretty much just lackadaisical passes, man. Just simple handoffs that shouldn't even, should just be simple handoffs. They were getting swipe that, getting loose balls, just from lackadaisical passes, like the attention, the focus, and the attention to detail wasn't there from pretty much anyone. Which is funny because, they're the old guys. They're calling them the unction. And they didn't have the focus that you would expect some 10 plus year career guys to have, especially when, for the most part, everyone should know the importance of, getting off on a win, starting the season off with good vibes. Now that's put on hold. Now you're already 0-1. Now you just got to hope to bounce back against Phoenix. But yeah, just lackadaisical passes, open shots, really, like just giving up. The defensive rotations weren't there. They didn't have that emphasis to them. That's just that grit that they had last year. Obviously, this roster's not exactly the same. We didn't start off with Kawhi last year, so everyone pretty much knew like they had to up the ante a little bit, especially starting the season off with no Kawhi. Kawhi had a bad game. Just probably one of the worst games he's really gonna have throughout the season. Like I said, it just sucks that that's how you start the season off. Against, like I said, the team that's projected to be one of the worst at the end of the year. So, and I know the Jazz for the past couple years, besides last year, they started off with pretty good starts. And then they kind of died down towards after the first month and a half, they kind of started to die down. But I mean, who knows? Maybe this is one of those times too where they're going to start off on a really good. They're going to get off to a really good start, and then the record goes down throughout the year. But regardless, this is not the team you want to lose to in this fashion on a season where your aspiration is to be champions at the end of the day. So yeah, and then just getting all hustled. I know after the second bucket for the Jazz was literally just a miss, and I believe it was Keontae George. He grabs the ball, gets the board, pushes it. All 5 guys are back. Like, everyone should have time to come back. And then you just see Markkanen just pretty much outrun everybody, sneak up behind everybody, outrun them, throw the lob, catch it, easy dunk. And that kind of, opens up, makes everyone more confident in their shots. And that's ultimately like the spiral down effect of not having the defensive intensity that was needed against a team that relied so heavily on their defense last year, especially to start the season off. It was just no one expected them. Obviously, you could lose to any team in the NBA on any given night, but a team like this, game 1, especially when last year how important the start of the season was to the ultimate end result. It's just a game you're ultimately gonna brush off, but it's still stings in the moment. Obviously, now go back home to play with Phoenix. So hopefully, and Phoenix actually got a dub over the Kings yesterday too, so they're probably gonna come into it a little bit more confident. But yeah, man, like I said, the defensive intensity just wasn't where it needed to be. That, and then the Jazz were throwing a little bit of zone, which did seem to mess with the offense of the Clippers. And it's one of the things too that was really alarming. Sometimes the Clippers' actions, they don't really have any actions. Sometimes their offense can become so simple that it's just so easy to guard, especially if you don't have the guys that can just blow by any defender pretty much when needed. Harden, obviously, is a little bit older. He's not able to blow by every single defender, especially, they got the young legs. They'll be able to keep up with him a little bit easier. So yeah, it was just messing up their offensive schemes a lot. And I mean, they were also missing shots too, but they weren't getting good shots either. So, and like I said, the turnovers, live ball turnovers too, which led to transition points. I actually did want to pull up the. We got the box score here. Obviously 108, 129, but like I said, they were down pretty much 30 the whole game. And it kind of felt like one of those games too, where you felt they might end up making a run at some point, but obviously they never really got. I don't think they got the lead under like 15 once they brought it to 30. So it's like that run never came. Just overall, man, just bad. Derrick Jones Jr. ended up with 12. Kawhi with 10 points. I have a feeling this will probably be his lowest point total for the season. Like I said, it just sucks that it came the first game of the season. Zubats got off to a rough start in that first quarter, but obviously picked it up a little bit. Ended up with 19, the leading scorer for the Clippers. Bradley Beal 5. He's still trying to get integrated into the system, but 5 points, not doing much. Defensively, he was okay, just a couple of stupid fouls, but I mean, definitely want better than 5. But it's first game of the season, so first game with this team too, so you won't really go in too much on him. James Harden, 15 points. Kind of felt like one of those James Harden games. He was kind of running through the motions. Didn't really have any intensity to it from the start of it. 2 for 9, 41%, 11 assists. John Collins, 14 points. Solid game overall. Brook Lopez was a spark plug off the bench, funny enough. CP, 4 points. Chris Dunn, 0 points. Chris Dunn, he was still doing a good amount of things defensively, so that's kind of his identity. So don't expect too much from Dunn points wise, but you gotta give something better than 0 points, at least a 3. He only had 3 shot attempts too. And then obviously for the Jazz, just good game overall. 38% from 3, 55% from the field. And then that was the thing too. They were showing a graphic. They went the whole first quarter without missing a 2-point field goal. That's how you know that the Clippers weren't defending nothing. Because even if you're getting layups and dunks and like that, like it's still pretty hard to go a whole quarter in the NBA without missing a seal shot from inside the 3-point arc. So that's how you know. Just that should give you a little bit of insight without much context. Even if you didn't watch the game, if someone told you a team didn't miss went 100% from 2-pointers in the first quarter, you just had to assume it was either all layups and dunks, which pretty much was. Just guys getting blown by. Even Chris Dunn got blown by on a few possessions by Keontae George, Walter Clayton Jr., who had a pretty good game as well. And then pretty much everyone was getting blown by. Like they were just a step behind. Which, like I said, first game of the season, don't want to harp on it too much. They could come back, win the Phoenix game pretty convincingly. And they'll kind of put this game behind them. But it's just something you don't want to see, especially when you already consider the older guys. And it's the first game of the season, and it's looking like you came into this game like if you had just played a double overtime game the night before. It's like the energy just wasn't there at all, which I mean sucked to say, which to say the least is not what you want to see. But I mean at the end of the day, they did also, the Jazz were also pretty much not missing nothing. But the shots were open shots, so it's like, it's like they're not missing, but if you're giving them open shots, obviously it's going to be easier for them to make. So that's just really what you want to see in the Phoenix game. Just want to see that defensively intensity just turned up a bit. Walker Kessler, 2 for 2. Nurkic, who I had no idea was on the Jazz until I saw him play this game. I just not keeping up with Nurkic, I guess, but he's always gonna do a little bit of bruising. He was getting into it with James a little bit. I don't want to say he's dirty, but he has his moments. So I mean, yeah, it just looked like they just were getting beat to every spot. Mine wasn't there all the way. So just want to hope they come into the Phoenix game a little bit more prepared to just the attention to detail being there a little bit more, and especially on defense, not getting beat so easily, like off the dribble, pick and roll. Like the pick and roll was leading to a bunch of easy shots, which if you have like Jokic and Murray, during the pick and roll, that's understandable. But if it's Keontae George and Walker Kessler, they're doing Lowry Markin and Walker Kessler pick and rolls, which were killing the Clippers too. So it's like just little things you want to clean up, and you want to clean it up fast before you get off to a really bad start, and then climb. You just don't want to dig yourself a hole too deep. That way you're not crawling just to be out of the play-in at the end of the season. So I mean, I have faith they'll bounce back against Phoenix. It's just bad vibes to start the year, which is never good. And I really just want to see the defensive intensity pick back up. I am interested to see when they'll run the John Collins in the starting lineup as well. Maybe even throw the Chris Dunn into the starting lineup as well. I have a feeling at some point Bradley Beal will come off the bench just to give them a little bit more offensive spark, because I don't know how successful you'll be if you're running a 10-man rotation and you're running a full lineup of John Collins, Dunn, Lopez, Paul, Batum. Pretty much no scoring threat besides Brook from 3, and then John Collins, which they were fitting John Collins a lot. So you're hoping he could also maybe get some post touches that'll lead to some points, good things happening. But he was getting the ball fed to him a lot, which I don't know how successful that'll be throughout the course of an 82-game season, which is why I feel at some point Bradley Beal will end up coming off the bench at some point just to help alleviate the offensive struggles, which they had today. Like I said, in the preseason, they were, from what I was seeing, it looked pretty good, and just from what I was seeing on Twitter, all the Clipper fans on Twitter, that lineup was pretty good, which it ended up could being, but I feel at some point that Beal off the bench lineup should help out a lot, especially if they notice it's hurting the offense a lot. But yeah, man, that's really all I had for this game. It's not much to say on. Just defensive effort wasn't there. Their offensive scheme wasn't all the way there. Just laziness all over the board. It's just gotta hope they brush it off and bounce back against Phoenix, and maybe get off to a better start. Maybe roll off a couple of wins, but probably just one of the worst opening games from the Clippers in a while. Just gotta hope it doesn't become a habit, a routine, I guess you could say. But yeah, man, let me know what you guys thought of the game. If you're a Clippers fan, subscribe. I'm gonna be trying to have Clipper game analysis for each game, after each game, which I should be. Since the game started a little bit later, I should be able to catch each game live and give a more give better analysis. So yeah, man, the Clippers fans, subscribe. Just NBA fans, subscribe. I'll try to get to other games as well, but I'll do my best, man. But definitely Clippers, that's gonna be on. Clippers fan, I'm in for the ride, man. So I'm already 10 years deep into this, even a little bit more. But yeah, man, just let me know what you guys thought of the game, what switches you guys might want to be made. But yeah, man, go Clippers. Clippers. to the end, baby. Let's go.